Drop Podcast.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Football Drop Podcast.
FDP Speciale, as you like to say.
And we have got a beauty.
Returning guest, yeah.
He's been on the pod before. We don't normally get this, do we, where people return? Normally they go, I don't want to talk to them twats again.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
One-time deal with FDP.
Yeah, let's not do that. But no, he's back. New book, new adventures. So I am going to just take a pump, Ben, and say, shall we just get straight into it?
Let's bring him on. Here we go.
FDP X Johnnie Lowery.
So here he is, as promised, Mr. Johnnie Lowery. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Yeah, welcome back. How's everything been? Been a busy boy?
Yeah, it's been exciting. You know what? I actually wrote, so Amateur Hour, the latest book, I wrote this one before Match Fit. So you say busy boy. I've
okay.
Sat my arse for the last few years. Other than the promo stuff. Just waiting for this to hit. It's been like the tension's been building up for years and years and years. It was a lockdown project. It was like a lockdown diary. So
This is literally like author's secret. Do you know what? I didn't expect you to say that, mate. That's really thrown me now. All of our questions have been so busy since he came on last. Obviously, we inspired him. You're like, no, you guys were like, shit, I've already got 4 books.
Between us, I've been working on my first hint. I've been working on another book, which will be out in a few years. So very long project, longer than I was thinking it was going to be.
Ah, okay.
So that would be something for the future. That's what's been keeping me busy in the writing world when I've not been depressed about Sutton United Football Club. So, this Amateur Hour has been been sat on this for a while. It's nice to see it finally see the light of day.
So before we get into that, how did you get on with Match? Because the last time we spoke to you, obviously Match Fit had just come out, which is a book around mental health. How has that been going with Match Fit?
Yeah, so it was sort of doing all right at the start. You get the sort of like the first week of sales and it all going very well. Ticked along, dropped off a bit. Thought okay, fine. Like sold a few hundred copies, whatever. And then it out of nowhere got shortlisted for the Sportsbook of the Year awards, the British Sportsbook Awards, and which was a bit mental. So I turned up, went to the awards ceremony. It was at the Oval, the cricket grounds. First time I've been there actually. Arrived and then got in the lift, and Chris Kamara was in the same lift as me, going up to the venue. I was like, wow, like this is pretty real now. This is pretty exciting. All sorts of famous people there. Got my picture taken with Brian Lara. He wasn't even on the shortlist. I don't know why. He just thought he'd turn up, say hello, which is great.
He knew you was there. He wanted a picture.
Yeah, yeah. I think he might have been on the shortlist this year, so he was just preempting it. But,
scouting out the competition.
Yeah, that's it. Knows where he has to be. It was great. Just loads of famous people there. Getting to meet a load of people. It's obviously great publicity, and it was a great honour as well because the vast majority of the people that are shortlisted across all the categories are effectively like either professional writers or professional sports people. So they'll work as journalists, like Athletic, Times, whatever. There's some big names as well. And then it was just like me. I was probably the youngest person on the shortlist by like quite a way as well. I was chatting to people there, and they were like, "Oh, who are you?" They thought I was working for one of the companies that sponsored it or something. No one realised I was on a shortlist. It was quite a surreal evening.
Without sounding rude, sorry. How did that feel exactly? Knowing one that you're obviously with, these I guess known writers and journalists, but they're just sort of like, "Oh, who are you?" kind of thing.
I thought it was quite funny, to be honest. I wasn't like, no one was going to know who I was. There was no like picture of me on with a book on the shortlist. I think even if you Googled me, you might have found something from my socials, but I had no profile. I even slightly do now. But it's quite funny being able to chat to people, being like, oh, actually, yeah, if you open your awards booklet to page whatever, I wrote that book, and that's me.
And they're like, ah.
Everyone was like, yeah. So yeah, it was good fun. I enjoyed it. It ended up so we were some of the last people in there, and there were loads of like all the shortlisted books were all just sort of dotted around, just left on the table. So I managed to get like a massive haul.
Oh,
All
amazing!
these books I wanted
Did
to
you get any
read.
signed?
No, I didn't. So it was like people. I was sure you never know until the end who's actually taking the books with them and who's leaving them there. It's just they're sort of like showcase things. There's a few of like spotting a few of my own books dotted around, which was like it was pretty mad. So that's all been exciting, and that's what kickstarted this really, because this amateur hour was probably not going to get published until that award nomination. That's what got it all moving.
Okay, so yeah, how did that all come about then exactly? Like, did someone contact you, or did you contact someone else, like who's published it and things like that? How does that all work?
So I wrote it years ago. Basically, it's like a lockdown diary. So I wrote it in 2020, 2021. But then Match Fit was always my main project, and Amateur was kind of the side project. So I thought I'll try and get Match Fit published. Probably more likely, mental health and football is a more kind of relevant topic than just watching loads of non-league football in lockdown.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I thought I'll stick with Match Fit here. Got that published. That was a couple of years ago now, I think, August 23. So then that came out. I spoke to the publisher, that Pitch Publishing, that did Match Fit, and they do so many football books. So they're brilliant. They cover pretty much everything. If you've got an idea, they'll look into it. And Pitch at the time were they basically said a lot of their books about non-league football, they're kind of tough to sell. There's a small interest, but not enough to make it sort of marketable or commercially viable, if you like. So they kind of left it for a bit. I tried one other publisher, didn't hear back from them, but I thought it's not a mainstream, it's like a niche market. Thought maybe I'll self-publish it just so it's out there. It was only ever a side project, but I'd done it. And then when the award nomination came through, it was actually on the night of the awards, because the guys from that run the company were there. And I was like, oh, by the way, that book that I wrote that you weren't interested in publishing, do you reckon maybe there might be a way I could blag it now? And they were kind of I really were a bit reluctant at first, but sent me a few edits to make. I went away and did them in the summer when I was at the Euros in Germany. Actually, that was my project while I was off work for a month for that. So I changed it quite a lot. It was quite a dramatic difference to what it was. And I think they were happy enough with that to go ahead and publish it, and hopefully just the fact that it's a small a growing reputation from being award nominated will hopefully carry it through a little bit. And then I think there's actually, my personal opinion is there's quite a big non-league audience. I think there are a lot of people that are into non-league football in general, and will, rather than it won't just be they'll buy a Sutton United book, they'll buy something that covers off a wider game. It's quite a almost fashionable, which I never thought I'd be saying about non-league football 10 years ago when I started watching it, but it's a fashionable alternative to the Premier League now. It's you support your local team, it's cheap, you drink watching a game, it was just easy. And a lot of people have that are disillusioned, or even people that aren't, to be fair. It's just a nice thing to do, to go and watch your local team. And I think there's that audience now that maybe wasn't even there a few years ago. That means that hopefully it will do all right.
I think that's kind of, you're right. It's what kind of kicked it off was probably COVID, because you couldn't travel too far, and if there was in and out of lockdown and stuff, you probably would go to your local game. But so this book is based on the FA Vase.
Yes.
And you went to how many games did you go to? Because you went through the rounds, didn't you?
It was one in every round, but I did a couple in the. I can't remember the first. It's the something over qualifying round. Effectively the first round. I did a couple of games in that because I was just up visiting family in the north of England. And the early rounds, there's so many games. You tend to get teams who play on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was like, I might as well. I think it's lockdown. There wasn't a lot to do. I was painting fences for most of the time. Catching up with family, painting a fence. Great for a few hours, and then you're okay, is there anything we can do? But it was all. Do you remember there was elite and non-elite sport? It's a bit of a throwback. So you couldn't go and watch, like, say like Middlesbrough are at home and they've got a 30,000 capacity stadium. No one could go, and that's not like, oh, they've got a ticket anyway, a reduced club, but you couldn't do it. But the non-elite football, which was, because Sutton counted as elite, so you couldn't even go. I don't know who on earth came up with that. I think I said at the time, anyone that watched it, we had like a 0-0 draw with Stockport the year before, where I don't think either side had a shot on target. And I was like, anyone that's watched this and said it's elite football, like, come on, what are you doing? But it was. So you couldn't even go and watch the National League. I'm not sure what level it was, the 7th or below, that you could still go and watch. So
right.
To watch, it was Durham City, and then on a Saturday Whitley Bay, who have won the FA Vase loads of times back in the day. Not quite where they used to be. So at the start you could go and watch all these games, and you can never at any point, I think there was like a week where you were allowed in to watch Sutton. There was one game in December, and then they put more restrictions in, and then there was the game where we won the league in May. So there was 2 games or 3 games, I think, all season where you could actually go, but most of the time throughout the Vase you could. So it was kind of making the most of that. But I think the FA Vase is a great competition. Like, how many like competitions do you see where you get basically amateur or low level semi-pro players playing at Wembley? It's like the romantic side of it. So I'd always wanted to do something like this, and then when lockdown came about, it's like, okay, this is an interesting angle. This might be something a bit different, and there's fuck what else to do. So just went along with it. Thought, I'll see if I can make it to the final, and it got a bit more difficult as the rounds went on, but we got there in the end.
Yeah,
fantastic.
And you obviously, so you talk about in your book the games that you go to, kind of the match day experience, in what is like crazy times. How sort of do you describe that? Is there have you got like a certain sort of day that you kind of remember that you sort of referenced in the book that is like, this was like the best? Yeah,
there's best and worst probably on like maybe the same day. I mean, it was just the stuff that was going on was really weird. It doesn't sound like it makes much sense, but I'll talk you through it. There was a game. It was at Malvern Town, and it was like, it would have been December. There wasn't, say, like fairly tough restrictions. The other thing is my brother and his girlfriend were living in our house, so I was sleeping on the sofa. I shared a room with my brother growing up. His girlfriend at the time was like estranged from her family, so she couldn't stay with them. So when they were on their uni holidays, this was a month in December, they were just, there was like 6-7 people in a house that holds like 3 or 4. It was like miserable being at home basically. I thought, I'm just gonna fuck off to as far away as I can go for the entire day and just like get away from it. So I went up to Malvern, in the middle of nowhere, but it's a lovely place. There's it's like really scenic. You got all the hills. Went out with a couple of mates. Was doing a bit of sort of amateur hiking in trainers. Slipped on my arse about 10 times on the way down. Like, it was quite a nice day for the winter. The game was insane. It was a 5-5 draw, and then it went to penalties. But it was like they were 1-0 down, 3-1 up, 4-3 down, equalised, looked like they'd won it, and then conceded again right at the end. It was just non-stop. It was amazing. Went to pens, then Malvern won it on pens, and Malvern were in the league below, so it was like a shock at the time. So we're thinking, wow, like what a game. We paid like a fiver to get in. It's like crazy, like 50p a goal. Like an amazing game, and we're thinking, we've had a great day, it's been a nice escape. And then do you remember there was like a tier 4, I think it was, they had the 3 tiers and they made another tier like the week before Christmas this was.
Vaguely, I can't remember what they were, but yes, I remember something.
It was in London, was in the tier 4, and not much of the rest of the country was. So I got the train back from Malvern to London, got into the station on Paddington or whatever it was, and there was thousands of people trying to get the trains the last trains out of London before it went into that tier 4 lockdown. It was like an apocalypse film, a horror film. Everyone's trying to get out of London, and I was like the only person going the other way, going back into London. It was just utterly bizarre, and going back and thinking like, this competition's going to stop now. Like, they've just won this game on penalties, and they're not gonna be able to play in front of fans. And you haven't got like TV money in the 9th tier or whatever. So I thought they're just going to stop doing it, and it will all fall through. I've done like 3 or 4 games, so I'm not going to be able to do a book out of that. And I'm not. What am I going to do until? And the thing at the time was, it wasn't even what am I going to do until the vaccines are rolled out and lockdown lifts. It was just there was no time scale. It was no one knew like when we were going to be out of it. It was like this could go on forever. So it's a pretty dark time. That period. It's all in the same day. The sort of highs of getting out and watching some fantastic football, and then oh shit, like this might be it for a long time.
Wowza. Yeah, that's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it, all of that?
Yeah, and it's weird even like thinking about it, because it was only 4 or 5 years ago, and it's like it feels like a different world. It doesn't. I've forgotten all this stuff until I read it back.
I can imagine. It's like when we're sort of talking about these things now. Will and I were at the game where Arteta was the first manager to catch COVID, and he caught it at that game against Was it Olympiacos? Yeah, and looking back, you think that was almost what started the whole thing, and then started eventually what was like lockdown and stopping sports and things like that, and it just seems like a totally different world now. So I think it's probably such a nice thing to almost read back. I guess you're almost like, oh my god, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's my life. Right?
I think it's far enough back now, and I think one of the reasons, to be fair, that Pitch didn't want to publish it a couple of years back is it was probably too soon. It's not exactly it's not a period of our lives that we look on with particular sort of joy, right? We were just sat indoors, and it's like, okay, just sort of have to get on with it. But I think we're far enough away now that you can look back and think, yeah, wow, like that was so weird. But also, I think it kind of makes me grateful for where we are now. Like I can just disappear off to wherever. So I was playing at Sutton yesterday. I've been watching Sutton. I've unfortunately been to all but 2 games this season. I'll be where I'm after in a couple of weeks. Whether they're playing the Andorra game, Barcelona now. So you could just do with that. There's no drama. There's no COVID testing. There's no quarantine if you test positive, which happened to me on the way back from holiday in Croatia in the middle of it all. There's none of that bullshit to put with. It's just life is just so much easier now, and then it could have been, like I say, at the time we didn't really know. We hoped, but we didn't know that it was going to go back. People were saying new normal, and no one knew what it was going to be like. So I think it's interesting to look back and think just how sort of like kind of worrying it was at the time.
Yeah, and obviously you're bringing sort of like the magic of football into it, where that's your like release and where you can go to just forget that, and that sort of being taken away from you when you talk about like that elite football. So with the VARs then, and you go into those games bearing in mind that we're in the midst of a global pandemic that has stopped everything, but you're still able to go to some games sort of in between, different variances of lockdown and things like that. What's like the magic for you? What makes that special for you to go there? What are you looking for?
It's just clinging on to the last threads of normality, isn't it? I think there was literally nothing else to do. I mean, you think like, I remember we did like a virtual pub on Zoom, and it's fucking here we go again. Like we had to come up with all sorts of stuff. It was like someone would have to make a quiz round, and we did like Zoom karaoke, which is the shittest thing ever, because this is the sort of depths that we were at here, right? And the FA Vase, like just the fact that you could go to a game of football was it was a break from everything, something to look forward to. You could actually say, like, at the end of the week, because I was still working, everyone's still working from home, right? So it's still, you've still got that sort of slog, if you like, to get through. It's having that release at the end of the week. It was quite relaxing watching teams that I didn't really care who won. It was a bit different to the week to week. So it's a bit different. But yeah, like say that, and then it was like a purpose for me, the fact that I was going to try and do every round, and it got to the point that the last few rounds, to skip ahead in the story, were ridiculous. Like I used to run like a filming company when I was like 15. I still had the camera. It was like held together with rubber bands. It's honestly falling apart. And I was like, so the games went behind closed doors, and I think it was the round of 16. So I still had 3 plus the Wembley final I had to get into, or maybe even a round of 32. I think it was a round of 32. Right. So I had to get into these games, but I couldn't just go as a spectator. So for a couple of them, I brought a camera along. I rung up the club before and I was like, "Hi guys, like I used to run this filming business like 5-6 years ago. I still just about have a camera. Do you want me to film your game?" Because these clubs are like 9th, 10th tier. The first couple of, so the round of 32, the round of 16, I was able to do that. They were like, "Yeah, sound, come along, bring the camera, film the game, we'll let you in," as like a worker basically, as a was it essential workers?
Wow.
Was that
so key workers, wasn't it?
Key workers, that's
it. Yeah.
Key worker for 2 games. So
anything
I
to watch a game
going.
of football.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Well, it gets worse. So that was a round of 32 and a 16. But then, the round of 32 was a team called Sutton Common. They got knocked out, so I was like, "Oh shit, I have to find a new team that will let me in." Went to Hadley FC, who knocked them out. They also lost.
No.
So both the teams that had let me in were now out of the competition. So I was like, right. And then none of them in the quarterfinals would let me in or didn't reply to me, whatever. So we ended up watching a quarterfinal at a team called United Services Portsmouth. Their ground is just off some A road, and you can watch through the fence. So we turned up. We were like doing all the recon on Google Maps before and Street View and checking out you could actually see the pitch. So we went to this US Portsmouth team, and bearing in mind I've done like 7 rounds at this point, like I'm getting this done. I don't care how I'm getting this done. I'm going to every game. I'm not getting to the semi-final and not getting in. I've come too far. So I went to this game in Portsmouth, watched through the fence, and there was quite a few people doing it. So you get chatting to people. It was really interesting. There's some bloke who used to play for them, some bloke whose brother was the left back for Portsmouth and he wanted to see them at Wembley, some lads that had come down from Flackwell Heath, who were the team they were playing against. They were like home and away, and they would have been in there if fans were allowed, and they weren't going to miss it. And then the semi-final was the same. It was up in Warrington, which is miles away. Portsmouth's not too bad, but so I live in London, so Warrington. We travelled up to Warrington, not even knowing if we would. There was a street view that showed that the fence was quite low, so we were like, we can probably look over this, but it was from like 10 years ago. So we were like, they might have done anything in the last 10 years, we have no idea. So we rocked up, we got a step ladder for free off Facebook Marketplace from someone who lived like 5 minutes down the road. Between two, there's 2 of us, there's me and a mate with this one step ladder. And it worked. We set this stepladder up on the road, and we could just about watch the game. The dumbest thing about that day, I'll never forget this, is they had you weren't allowed to watch the football, but you were allowed people with it, like in a bar, when you could have a meal with it. So they had like a couple of hundred people in the club bar at the ground watching a stream indoors, and no one in the ground outside,
so
which was much bigger and outside. So they scored, and we saw them score watching over the fence, and then about 30 seconds later you could hear everyone celebrating because the stream was up 30 seconds. It's just like ridiculous. So like a semi-final with the final at Wembley, and like people are watching it on the stream about 5 metres away from where the game is taking place. Just bizarre. Really like you say some of this stuff and it like, it's like, what the fuck? It just makes no sense. But
fair play, it's very resourceful to get a step ladder whilst you're up there as well. That would have crossed my mind. I would have gone, oh fuck, I need to get that before, like it on a train.
We got it from London. Yeah, we got it on the morning.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
We got it all the way up. Yeah, we got it from Londden. I've still got it in the flat. It's quite. If I ever need to change the light bulb, I don't have to get someone in to do it now. But but that's where it came from. Was going to watch an FA Vase semi-final over the fence. Just couldn't explain that to anyone. But yeah,
this step ladder is going to be famous now. People be like, oh my God, let's see it. It's going to go to Sutton's museum.
Yeah. Can never tell anyone. Like any normal people that come round the flat have to be like, yeah, to do a bit of DIY. You can't tell them the real reason. I won't get it. So it's just like,
honestly, that's incredible. And I assume you got to the final as well.
Yeah, and that was another drama because there was only, I think there was a couple thousand or 1,000 tickets per team.
I was going to ask, how did you get tickets for that? Because obviously Whitstable got there this year and obviously won, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I know Will, I think you said it last week on the pod. I think like there's hardly any tickets available for like the actual fans of clubs and stuff.
Yeah, I think for like non-lockdown restrictions, you'd be able to get a ticket somewhere in because they sell like in 4 different sections, don't they? So they'll have the 4 teams playing that day. And I don't know if they would. I feel like they would increase an allocation. I don't know. I don't pay enough attention. There was like 45,000 people there this year, which is pretty incredible if you think like.
Mad.
Again, there's 2 ninth tier teams in front of 40,000 people at the National Stadium. Like, where else in the world do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, in lockdown it was like 1,000 people, and it wasn't even sure that anyone was going to get let in until a couple of weeks before, and I'm not sure I could have watched over the fence at Wembley. So, so I was kind of
step ladder needs to be a bit higher.
Big step ladder. So that was a bit of a nervous time. I thought I could have pretended to be a steward or something. I don't know, but yeah, it was like 1,000 tickets per team. Binfield, one of the 2 teams, they were only selling them in person, which I kind of expected. So and it's not a million miles away. It's like, I think like round Oxford way. So I was like, I could go to Binfield, wherever it was, get in a queue, buy a ticket, and get back. I worked out it would have been like a 4-hour trip there, 4-hour trip back,
Wow.
to get a ticket, and I wouldn't even have been guaranteed one, I suppose, if enough people had gone. Then luckily, just as I was about to set off, probably like half an hour before I was about to set off, Warrington started selling theirs over the phone, I think it was. So we managed to call up and get. It was me and a mate went. The same guy was at the Malvern game earlier on, and so we managed to get tickets over the phone, which was a relief because it would have either been a long trip to some. It's basically a village in the middle of nowhere, Binfield. If I remember correctly, there wasn't like a train station. I'd have had to get like a train into somewhere and then a bus and then walk and then do it all again on the way back. So just about managed it, which was a relief. You can imagine.
Jesus, absolutely. I mean, fair play. That is pure dedication,
commitment. Yeah.
But I love that. Absolutely love that. Will and I, we can't even go to Bargate. We can't be arsed. It's like 10 minutes down the road. It's like, I'll maybe go next time. But you're ready to go 4 hours each way.
Commitment.
Yeah, didn't have to in the end. But yeah, no, whether or not I probably would have done.
You would definitely have done. If you're taking a step ladder on the train, you're stuck in 4 hours.
That's mental. That is mental. And what was the final score in the end?
Of the final, good question.
3-2,
Warrington won 3-2.
3-2.
Some bloke scored a hat trick. Elliot Never, because he's signed he's at Crewe now. I think he went to Tranmere, but he was playing someone else they had 2 players signed for Football League teams straight after, so they were playing because I think he scored against us, and I remember thinking, fucking hell, like that. I've seen him playing the FA Vase, and when I was writing that book, I remember the name because he scored like something ridiculous, like 70-80 goals in that season, and so there was always clubs, and he was still he was mid-20s as well. He wasn't young or anything, or like by football standards anyway. So it was like one of them moves out of nowhere. But they were a good team. Yeah.
He's at Gillingham now. Actually, I saw him play earlier on the season. Yeah, he's at Gillingham.
Yeah, no, it's a good football story, like Jamie Vardy type thing, isn't it? It's slightly lower level, but to come from the 9th tier and be up playing pro football within a couple of weeks. Well, he went straight to the pro game from the 9th tier, and that's like 5 leagues up. It's quite a big jump.
It's mad, isn't it? Just looking through like the fixtures that they went that these 2 teams, Binford and Warrington, played in that year. I mean, we know Deal Town only because they're like a couple of towns away. Other than that, you don't really know who these people are. It's crazy. What's the quality of football like? Is it pretty decent?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Some of the early games were pretty dreadful. I mean, Durham City, the first team I went to see, they were quite interesting because they were like owned by Olivier Bernard, who used to play for Newcastle. So Oliver Bernard, whatever his name was. And the manager was Didier Agath, who used to play for Celtic. So they had a couple of big names were like involved, and their entire team were non-English. They brought a load of young lads over from various parts of the world, so they didn't have a single English player. It's like in the Premier League where there's no English players, but in the 10th tier, and they were absolutely shit. I don't understand. They're like they got stuffed 4-0. Right? I think they got relegated that season, because the season didn't finish. But the next season they put the 2 seasons together on points per game, and they won like 1 game over the 2 years. They were dreadful. They got stuffed 4-0. And in the match I remember reading the match programme before the game, and they were like, "Oh, we've not got this guy today. He's moved to Andorra because he wanted to play Champions League football." so he'd signed for this club in Andorra that were in Europe. From a team that were like the worst team in the English 10th tier. Then the teams in the final were like pretty good. I mean, you say there's a couple of them playing pro. Like most of them, there was accusations of teams signing players from. There were teams higher up in the league system that had no league games because the league all got voided in like maybe January.
Yeah,
Feb.
Of course it did. Yeah.
So there were lots of accusations going around of teams bringing in players that had nothing, like had no other games from like two or 3 leagues up. But yeah, so it's to be honest, like so long as it's a passable standards and it's entertaining, I don't really care. Like the game that was 5-5, like decent standard, wasn't one of the best, wasn't one of the worst. But like like a 5-5 game between like when it's like 2 pub teams and it's just long sort of hoofs forward, it's like okay, not really that arse, but it was decent enough that it resembles a football match, but also was really entertaining. So yeah, no, it's the finals are always great, I think, because you always end up with 2 good teams in the final, and like you say, it's teams that you wouldn't really have heard of. It's their quite often one chance in the spotlight, national stadium.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's the game of their lives, and I think they're always great entertainment. You never get a boring game in the Vase final of the ones that I've watched anyway.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Was there a team that you kind of picked as like your favourite team, thinking I really want them to win?
Well, when I was at the stage where I was getting let in as a cameraman, it would have made my life a lot easier if either of those two had stayed in. I mean, it was Sutton Common were one of the teams, so they ground shared with Sutton United at the time, so it was actually at Sutton United, so they're like my local team. They lost to Hadley, who I didn't realise that. I called up the football club, Hadley Football Club. We were chatting, me and the guy on the phone, I didn't know who he was. We're chatting about football, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've watched quite a lot of Sutton United as well." And I'm thinking, what? Like, you're from Hadley's in North London, like near Barnet. Why is this guy watching Sutton? And it was our manager's brother. Like our manager's our manager at the time, who's from Barnet way, and his whole family were involved with this club, Hadley. So I was chatting with the Sutton manager's brother on the phone. I didn't know. It's just as well. I was like, we were top of the league at the time, so I was like, oh yeah, it's all going really well. It's like, so I think I said, like, if we win the league, they'll build a statue of him on High Street or something like that, and not knowing that I was on the phone to his brother. Just crazy. So look, I kind of had a soft spot for them through that, but then they got beat on penalties, and then after that it was like whoever. I was in the Warrington end in the final, so I sort of had to be behind them a bit. But once Sutton Common and Hadley were out, like, happy for anyone. So as long as it was a half decent game, which to be fair, that they pretty much always were.
Yeah. Did you not buy any shirts then? No Warrington shirt for you?
I'd be surprised if there were any clubs selling them.
I really
did some research into it. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get like the sort of Warrington Ryland Superstore or anything.
That's a shame.
I don't even think
they might have a couple.
I don't even think they don't even have like a Twitter account. I was trying to tag them on Twitter to get like because they got a bit of money behind them. I think it was it's like Paul Scholes' agent, Wayne Rooney's agent, Paul Stretford, I think his name is. He was putting the money in. So they're up in like the Northern Prem, so like the 7th tier now. They might even have been towards the top of that this season. So they've gone up quite a bit, but I still don't think they've got like a massive following. And Warrington's it's like a 2-club city. They've got Warrington Town there as well, and the rugby's bigger than both.
Yeah, rugby's
so they're sort of like the 3rd biggest team in Warrington still.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of them have. Yeah, a few of these teams, like I think that US Portsmouth team will probably be getting like 30, 50 for a league game now. So there's not a huge demand.
That's crazy numbers, though, isn't it? But it's obviously had such an effect, though. You know, as you said, across like non-league or national league. I think, you know, things like that, the attention on it. I think like the Wrexham documentary, for example, was highlighted. I appreciate that's like national league, but it's highlighted everything downwards now, that there is still, you know, very good football. Go and support your local team. You do make buying that burger and a beer and a ticket. If you're doing that every week, that genuinely helps the club so much, doesn't it? It makes such an impact.
Yeah, and it's crowds all across the board in non-league football going up. I mean, like Sutton's a great example. We won the National League in lockdown, so there's no one there. But the year before that, we'd been averaging about I think it's about 1800s. Maybe not even that, to be honest. I think we had a few crowds that were like just about over 1,000. So we've gone up, we've come back down. We were dreadful last season, like for the vast majority of it, we were dreadful. And then we've been very average this season. We're mid-table, but our away record is way better than our home record. So we've only won 2 games in a league since January, and we're still averaging like 2,500. We had well over 3,000 on the final day. So the crowds are held up really well, even though on the pitch the last couple of years have been pretty crap, all in all. And we when I first started watching Sutton in, say, like 15 years ago, was my first season ticket, we got about 500 people average, and that was a good crowd in the Conference South. We were one of the better supported teams. If you had 500 people in the Conference South now, you're the worst supported team by a mile. I think around 1,000 marks probably the league average. It's like doubled. It's more than doubled in 10 years. It's crazy.
I think that's one of the nicer things that's come out of, you know, the Premier League. Obviously, just swallowing money. I appreciate, and it does, you know, kill a lot of clubs, but it also does the opposite and brings fans to the clubs. You know, as you said, you know, going there, definitely watching it, you could drink and things like that, and you know, it's so expensive for your Sky Sports, your TNT, your Amazon Prime, this, that, and the other nowadays. Like for all that a month, you can go as you know, season tickets basically for your local club.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people. A lot of people that come to Sutton now they support, like, or originally supported Chelsea, Arsenal, Palace. You can imagine there's a London team like West Ham, or whatever. They're all in Sutton's like their second team. So they'll come along and they get behind it. They're a lot of blokes that will say, "Oh, I used to go to Chelsea in the '80s when it was like cheap and it was terraced and it was fun, and now it's like it's all tourist and it's 1,000. It's at least like £1,000 for a season ticket. Then there's a waiting list, and if you get tickets just on a day trip, it's just a crap experience. It will still cost you like £100 for a game. By the time the pain in the ass of getting there, getting back, it'd be like £10 if you want to get a burger." And then if you want to bring the kids, it's like you just chip all that cost. And they say, "Well, I live in Sutton. I'll watch the odd game down the pub, but I'm also, if you're paying all these subscriptions, right? It's like, say it's hundreds of pounds a month probably if you're paying Sky, BT. There's quite a few games on Amazon Prime now. I mean, the National League are on DAZN, so that's like 4 different channels. By the time you've paid all that money, you just go and watch your game at Sutton, £20, like. Yeah, why not? Watch the so often the Chelsea games are on like a Sunday or a Saturday lunchtime or evening that people will go and watch the Sutton game and watch the Chelsea game or the Palace game or the Arsenal game, whatever, in the pub. There's not that many 3 o'clock Saturday kickoffs now, so you can do both, and people are doing both.
That's really interesting, isn't it? And I bet you've got like a group of people at the club that you go to that you know that you can have a laugh with, and you've made friends, and that's kind of where you are now. So it's not just the football or the you know, the cheap beer and the burgers and stuff. It's actually everything else as well around it. Yeah,
it's the community side. I don't say it's like Sutton. There's not many people that support Sutton from outside of Sutton. It's a small time club, right? We've not got these sort of like, you know, fans from the Middle East or China or whatever. It's all like, if you're from Sutton, you support Sutton. It's all like people that you would sort of bump into around town and get together on a weekend. So that's probably some of my best mates I've met through football. Like the lads that are like my age, and you just end up spending time with these people because you're doing the games. You don't even have to like organise stuff. It's just like, we'll be at the grounds, we'll be at the bar at 1:30, we'll be in the pub afterwards, we'll be like behind the goal during the game. Just see people. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like no organisational skills required whatsoever.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Fair play. And you alluded earlier, but I assume you're not going to talk much about it, but there is another book on its way.
Yeah, it'll be many, many years before it's out, so probably a bit early for even the teaser. I'm working on something, which is I won't give too much away, because it's a genius idea. I don't want anyone nicking it, but so I've got about 12 chapters I want to write. I'm writing the 4th one now, so I'm around a third of the way through. And that's taken me for the last 2 years, basically. So at the same rate I'm going now, I'm probably looking at another 2 or 3 years. So, and then the publishing process takes like a year, or can do, once you've signed contracts and done all the proofing and stuff. So you're probably looking at 2027, 28, and then yeah, it's good. Well, hopefully it'll be good. I've not got a deal for it or anything. I quite like to alternate. It's like what's the word? Like interview based, like a factual one, like similar to match fitting style. It's like written about something and it'll interviews and all that sort of stuff. And then I'm quite keen to go into like another sort of memoir style thing, like amateur hour, like 6 minutes. So that's the sort of thing I can write in a couple months and put it out, because you don't have to research, don't have to interview. So I've got a few ideas for that. I would like England to win the World Cup next year, because then I've got a nice easy idea which I can write about my month. I'm planning on going out to that tournament the whole way through it, as far as we get. So if we win it, that'll be nice, and that'll be my next book if we do. But I doubt it. So, but yeah.
Never know. You never know.
It was onto a sure thing then.
No, we can dream. We can dream.
Exactly. You've got to believe in it. Oh, Tommy T, he'll lead us. He will lead us all the way. I don't know why you're laughing. It's going to happen, mate. Anything you would like to add or leave us with, William?
No, thank you.
Just final comments from you, Johnny. For anyone that wants to buy the book, where can they go? Where can they buy it from, mate?
Yeah, so any sort of online bookstore, so like Amazon, Waterstones. If you Google Amateur Hour book, it will come up. If you Google my name, Johnny Lowery, it will come up. I think Amazon have got £5 off at the minute. So you'd be rude not to. Get it for about a tenner. Yeah, don't see that sort of value these days very much. So yeah, like don't delay. But yeah, sit down to Google, it will come up. And there's they've just it was running low on stock, which was exciting, but they've restocked, ready to go, ready for your order. So yeah, no, very much appreciate any support.
Perfect. So guys, if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, it will be in the description for you as well. You don't have to Google it, but if you are out and about and you can't quite read it, you've heard it from the man himself, just give it a Google, it'll come up straight away. But yeah, from Will and I, Johnny, it's been a pleasure having you back on, mate.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll get you on for the next book again.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, Sutton do well for next season.
Yeah, we're about due a good one. So
there we go.
But cheers, guys, much appreciated.
It's great to have you on,
Thank
guys.
you,
hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.